Why, this looks like an epic beatdown about to go down right here. Shit. Okay. The Hidizs is a Hidizs. It's in the title of the video. You see it says Hidizs. The Hidizs AP80. $150. And the new FiiO M6, which I can't clean enough. Actually, this still has the protective cover on the back of it. Does it have a protective cover? Oh, there you go. Didn't even notice that. God, it's so glass now. Now it's just super glass. I've actually just made it dirtier. Okay. These are both $150. Both of them. They both come with protective cases. They're both one of the newest revisions of any portable media player or DAP, digital audio player, that you can get. And we're going to shoot them off real quick. And I didn't do any paperwork or lay out the feature because I've been using these things constantly. Since I got them. I got this, and I'm like, oh, I got to use this. And then I got this, and I took this to Can Jam. So that's just... Let's do the AP8. They're off right now. They're off. They should both be charged. I'm going to turn them on. We're going to go through them. We're going to navigate to music. We're going to play some. I've got the Brainwaves Alara, which are a heavy-duty planar, which is pretty hard to drive. I've also got the new Yaxi padded, Yaxi like taxi, but with a Y, links in the description, padded Cost Porta Pros. By the way, these pads also work on the KSC 75s. In fact, my pair has a set on them already. They don't come in this color scheme. I had to buy 5 different colors to make that happen. Turning you on. Hidizs. Relish music. Beauty in the details. They're going after FiiO with their lame for music and happy. So, you turn it on, you end up in this screen. In this screen, you get to swipe left and right. You get 4 buttons here. Player. A step. It'll actually do a step counter, which I've not used because obviously I don't walk anywhere. It's got an FM receiver. Please insert headset, which needs to use the headphone input as the actual antenna, so it'll tell you to leave. You get your Bluetooth menu, which will turn on and be very similar to like the Shanlings, where it's a rudimentary Bluetooth menu, but it still works. It'll output and input. You get your system settings, language, which you can select English or literally every other like multiple terrifying languages that I do not want to learn. Back. Music database updates manually. The brightness is on 8%. I hope that works with the camera. The backlight time, 30 seconds. So actually, we're going to set the backlight time to stay on. It's actually, they've gone with a very small menu. It's very, very adjustable. Hello? I had it to stay on. That's why I won't adjust. Look, I can adjust from 10 to 120, and every increment is on this little drag bar. That's useful. It's very small, though. It's a very tiny screen. So I'm going to set it to stay on because we're doing the review. 100% battery life. Color theme. And look, again, you could just pick red. Let's go with the red color theme. Color theme is on. We're going to go with red. Oh, you know what? I like that green. A little bit less green. Okay. Go back. So now we've got everything switched to that color theme. Back to the system settings. Font size. I have it set to small. You could set it to large. Doesn't actually make much more room, though. And it's worse when you're scrolling through songs. So I leave it on small. Storage mode is USB. I keep exiting. What part of the screen am I hitting to exit it? Storage, audio, or dock. So you can use this, as you can with most DAPs, as a separate external DAC for your laptop or something, or even your full-blown computer system. You plug in USB-C. It's USB Type-C. I should have probably done the tour around it first. USB Type-C, or you could set it as a dock. I don't know. Hideiz apparently has a dock. Don't know. Time setting. The time is completely wrong. It does not seem to pull from the internet because it doesn't have any internet. It's just a standalone device. Idle timer 5 minutes, sleep timer, battery percentage display, yes. Standby, line in remote, screensaver settings, firmware update, etc. And then the last is about, and this is the Hidizs 1.0 capacity, blah, 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 blah. You've got a couple QR codes if you want to point your phone at it. Back. All right, let's give the actual physical tour. Left side, micro SD card slot. Back, glass, fingerprint magnet. That's the same on both of these, because if they put a glass back on the back and a glass front on the front, the Bluetooth works better. It's just metal around the outside. Those original players, like even the FiiO, even the bigger FiiOs had like metal bodies, and it's like, wait, we can't get the Bluetooth to work. So that's a nice change. The bottom has your headphone out. It's a 3.5mm stereo, not balanced. Type C input or output, however you want to look at it. There. The top has nothing, and the right side has all the controls. There's next track, play, pause, last track, and then this button. Now this is a knob and a button. You hold it in, it turns it on. You hold it in, it turns it off. It also will turn off the screen, and then on the screen, and then off the screen, and then on the screen, but you're locked, so you gotta unlock it. And whoops, I pulled up a fucking menu. So while it's locked, like a phone would be locked, it gives you access to this menu, which is like a quick menu, which lets you adjust the volume there. That little slider that's a 1/2 inch high that your big fucking thumb has to tweak with is actually volume to 1,000,000% or off. So don't touch that. Then you get the brightness adjustment, which is on this side, which you can, with the right amount of there you go. You can adjust that. I'm going to leave it low because it always usually works better with the camera. You get to turn on and off Bluetooth. You get to adjust high or low gain. I'm going to set it to high gain, even though we're going to put those on. You can set the USB to drive, storage, or dock. Bring that back up. And then you have this, which is the line out mode, which will fix this to line out. In case you wanted to push it to another amp, you don't want to have an adjustable volume control. That's actually, I'm not going to continue that, by the way. Let me tell you the problem with this. So, the worst thing about this unit is the knob. And every other unit, I have a trillion of them here, and they all have knobs on the side of the top, and usually they're pretty easy to manipulate. This one, however, is so recessed past the sides, and so flimsy back and forth because it's a button that you cannot roll it with one finger. I mean, you can if you really... Oh, I've clicked the button and I shut the screen. Like I am, with all my might, pushing over and just up, and if you do 2 fingers, it's perfectly fine. It's very slow. Again, you're going to try to adjust volume like this, but with one... lacking 1 finger volume adjust, like is just the worst. So you're going to end up doing like I did. You're going to click it once, and then you're going to control it like that, and then you're going to wait for it to shut off. The biggest issue I had with this, besides that, however, is you turn it on, right? In fact, let's turn it off again. Goodbye. It says goodbye, by the way. It says goodbye. I don't know if you see that. Let's turn it on. And I'm going to try to get it to play music without pressing any of the screen. It says hello. It does a cool, wow, relish music, beauties in the details. All right, we're on the main home screen. There's the play button. Play. Play music. Plug this in. Go. Next. Happen. That's a screen off. Now the screen's on, but it's locked, so I gotta unlock it. Oops, I unlocked it improperly. I gotta click that off. Now I gotta swipe. Nope, do it again. There you go, I've unlocked it. Literally, did you see the difference between the scrolling up and the scrolling up? Neither did I! And I've had this for weeks. It's very, very particular. I think if you lock it and you drag from the very bottom up, you get that. But if you drag it from slightly up higher, no, slightly up higher, yeah, you have to drag it from the middle up to unlock it and lock it. You can't get this to play or enter or do anything without turning it on and then going into the player. And then it's going to give you your list of tracks. It's all the tracks in order from A to number sign. And when you scroll, you'll see a little pop-up on the side. And you can finger over where you want to go. And that's fine. But what you're going to do every time you start this unit is you're going to have to go player, and then one of the first 4 tracks it's showing is you're going to have to start playing that. It doesn't resume. I can't find a way to resume it. I have listened to Abaddon Fat tracks from Tricky 7,000 times, because every time I turn this unit on, it's play this song and then next track. And then it'll start jumping around. But this list doesn't jump around. So even though this is a list of songs, and I just changed tracks, and now it's playing... Wow. How's that for my playlist, alright? Can you tell which one's getting beat down yet? I like the green, though. I like the theme that you could pick it. But now if I want to actually see the music that's playing... So it doesn't jump and follow the cursor. So let's go to the actual now playing, which is this is the Robin Hood. Not Men in Tights, which was a better movie overall. But now we've got the actual screen that's showing me what's going on. If you could press that, it says no lyrics. You can press it again. It's switching between the lyrics display and the actual album art. You got 3 dots menu down here. Now listening, list now playing. So now this is the list now playing thing, which is just an endless scrolling list that has no way to navigate it better than that of what has been played. Hit the button. You got the add to playlist, equalizer, view album properties, and delete. So equalizer, let's jump in that. It's a simple, please turn on master switch. All right, I'm turning it on. You get how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Scroll over. 10. You get a 10-band EQ, and I fucked that up, so now I got to lower that, which is a nice feature. I like when you get an EQ with something. Back. It's just, you know how many times I'm pressing forward or back? I shouldn't have to do this much on the screen with such a small unit. It should be at least navigatable with the buttons. Oh, I restarted the song. I hit next song. That's the default. You could pause it. If you want to go back to your main menu, I think you have to. Can I just scroll? Update database, equalizer, MSEB, which is overall temperature. This is interesting because it lets you screw with things like if you want the overall temperature, not room ambient temperature, but sound temperature to be cool, bright, or warm, dark. Then you get to adjust the bass extension from light to deep, the bass texture from fast to thumpy. Thumpy. The unit has the word thumpy on it. You could do note thickness. Crisp or thick. I didn't know there was an option. If I have thick wrists, apparently the opposite of this is crisp wrists. That's hard to say, by the way. Don't attempt it. Vocals, recessed or forward. Oh no, it brought up the menu. I didn't even know it could do that. It's bringing up that menu again. No, go away. Female overtones, detox or vivid. I love detox vocals in my females. Sibilants, laugh, LF, low frequency sibilants from soft to crisp. High frequency sibilants from soft to crisp. Impulse response, slow and musical. You could adjust all of these. Is that actually individual? Oh my God. Impulse response literally has a bar this wide that I can drag with my thumb. And as far as I can tell, it can go from negative 100 to positive 100. That's 200. No, accurate. Look, I'm actually doing it. Look, Mom, I'm doing it. 12, 15, 23, 24. I could actually adjust impulse response. How do I reset that to 0? By dragging my screen. That's 200 levels of change. And finally, the last thing is air. 0. The air. You could add or subtract air. You could have more crisp air or more soft air. Now, I play with this a bit, and you could really fuck with things. Like, it sounds good, and it does interesting stuff, but if you just wonkily changed bass texture, come on. Again, touching the screen 100 times. I'm lowering the note thickness, I'm raising the vocals, and I'm bringing up the overtones and down the sibilants, more high frequency sibilants, and lower them, and leave the air. I want full air to crisp. This will sound fucking weird. Then you could put this thing, use preset tuning, slider range settings. So you could actually set it from 100 to 100 or 40 to 40 or 20 to 20. I just realized what it's called. So I just complained. I didn't complain. I admired the fact that it would go from negative 100 to positive 100 in the space of an inch. And apparently, fine-tuning 20 to 20 is only called fine-tuning. Then middling is when it's 40 to 40. And excessive is what it's called when you go 100 to 100. I totally forgot that happened. Sorry. And then you could use preset tuning if you want to put that on, and then it shuts everything else off. This has way more options than it should for what it is. Get out. Okay, now I've got it all fucked up. I'm going to shut that off. I do not need to hear it again. Trust me. Please, what was that? Please turn on master switch to reset it. I'm not going to reset it. I'm just going to leave it off. Equalizer play settings. Let's see. Play mode shuffle. Resume from last play. Track. That might fix what we were trying to deal with. Gapless playback. Let's turn that on. Sound field. Sound field is off. And it goes from -1 to +3. Okay, I'm just going to leave that off. Max volume. You could set it up. You could lower the max volume. That's actually good if you give this to your child and they're going to blow their brains out. Again, it's a $150 player. The options in this were unheard of last year. Like last year, $100 player, what is this? No, none of this. Crossfade. It has built-in crossfade between songs. The gain is set to high, even though you can I access it from here? Yes, I can. You can access that goddamn menu everywhere. Replay gain. It will do replay gain by track or album, so I always do by track. Okay. You could adjust the balance. You could do an anti-aliasing filter. Look at the number of filters you have. You have linear phase, fast roll-off, linear phase, slow roll-off, minimum phase, fast roll-off, minimum phase, slow roll-off, appetizing roll-off, appetizing slow, corrected minute. I have a $1,300 DAC over there, the SMSL D1. It doesn't have nearly this many fucking filter options. Not even nearly. And then brick wall. Does it scroll? Thank you, no. Playthrough folders, playthrough albums. So that's basically your play settings. You could exit it. You could hit exit, and it takes you back to the main menu. So that's how you get out of the player. If you're in the player and you want to not be in the player, you sideswipe and you hit exit. We now have it hooked up so FM will work, as you could hear. Yep, that's about how good FM sounds usually in my area. Let's actually see what it does. A little bit. Come on. Come on, give me Philly's best hits of the 90s. Hell yeah. Now, I've used it before, and this is surprisingly good quality for an FM radio tuner. Kids, let me explain what the radio is. The radio is like the internet, Wi-Fi, but just for music, and just for music you can't control. And there's ads that you can't skip. This is 88.5 in Philly. I don't know what this is, but it's amazing. All right, now how do I leave this? Back button? Okay, good. Step counter, again, I'm not going to try that right now. Bluetooth we could turn on. I'm not going to try that right now. The biggest letdown of this whole unit, obviously it's got settings you could tweak and fuck with every single thing. The biggest letdown is the silicone case it comes with, which I'll put on now, and the knob. The silicone case for it is just cheap, and I talked to them about it because they sent me this. Hideiz sent me this, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You've got like rough edges around the cutouts. Like everything just seems like it was stamped. These buttons do not line up in the center of these holes. I mean, this sort of works, but it like bows out here and you got to like push it in. It never just stays flush. So it's just like, it works to protect it, but it feels like shit. It's just like, this doesn't feel, it also, there's no indicator of when your center button is there. Like other players, let's use this for an example, have like a physical, like you could feel that that's a play button. It rises up. And usually you do that to the middle button, but they don't do that here. So if you reach into your pocket with or without the case, you just get 3 identical buttons. And I've had to discipline myself to just, basically the only one I use is next track. So the very first button is all I was hitting. We're down to 99% battery. Very good battery life. I don't think I've killed it. I would look up what it is, but you guys are just, if you're interested in buying this, you're gonna look up what it is anyway. And yeah, okay. This kills it, the volume control. Because now with the rubberized case, you really can't get your fingers in there to do anything. You gotta just click it once and then just start swinging. Or swipe up the magic console and then you have the entire volume control down here in like this weird fucking, like, I don't know why there's a secondary. It must think it's a much larger player. Because this is fucking, my pinky covers the entirety of what it popped up. It's like a hippopotamus. Did you know this about hippopotamuses? Welcome to Z Reviews, where you learn about why hippopotamuses are the most dangerous creatures in Africa. They've killed more people than lions, tigers, and bears all together. Because the hippopotamus thinks it's this big. Not shitting you. Like when a squirrel, and you see like a squirrel, and the squirrel knows it's this big, and you corner a squirrel and it gets like real aggressive because it's so tiny. Or a little yappy fucking dog. The little yappy dogs are aggressive because they know how tiny they are. They have to be aggressive or you're going to attack them. Oh shit. It was a nice to just stomp dead, flat little baby dog. But a hippopotamus's brain, for some fucking reason, still thinks this is a little woodland creature that bounces around. So when you corner a hippopotamus, or a hippopotamus is scared, it attacks you like a little yappy dog. And imagine a yappy dog with a mouth the size of like the front of a Buick. And that's why it's the most dangerous goddamn animal in Africa. And this player, I know how, see the segue? This player thinks it's much bigger than it is with all these little finite, it needs a stylus. I feel like this is one of those Art Deco things where it's like, oh, and you just adjust things with this little. My thumb is wider than the play and next track and last track. My whole thumb covers all 3 buttons. So infants, newborn babies can use this just fine. Not saying that I can't use it, it's just that it's weird that it has it. So you go to the player again. We hit next track while it's in here. Still doesn't play. Play pause, still doesn't play. What if I go to the actual like song? Okay, it doesn't have anything loaded. It doesn't have anything fucking loaded. I was just playing, so now I gotta swipe back. I gotta start a bad and fat tracks again, and then I can switch to this, and then it's playing, and it's in play mode. All right, let's plug in the It'll play those just fine. Really, really well actually. Oh, Mech Warriors is on. I'm going to turn the volume knob. Now I'm in high gain, and we're at about 75 out of 100. And these headphones, I can just tell. These buttons, by the way, are now recessed. And you have to really squeeze them to get them to go. 85. I mean, these are $500 set of planar headphones. I don't expect it to power them well, but it does. I knocked this thing on a lot of its feet. It's too small. It's doing this. The menus are weird, but I cannot whisper a bad thing about how it sounds. I was testing every IM I've reviewed in the last 3 weeks has been on this first. So how's that? I usually leave it on low gain and I test just IEM after IEM, tin T3s, even the $700 goddamn Martians. So it's a quality sounding piece with some ergonomic issues. Let's unplug you. Now, let's meet its competition, which isn't perfect. As much as I think Bella Laika is perfect, and she's the most ultimate woman, and everyone should want to be with Bella Laika. It's just her first appearance as a wallpaper. That's for sure. Let me introduce you to the Android-powered M6. Are we ready? Actually, we could have a race. Ready to have a race? because this wasn't exactly snappy to turn on. It still took a bit. But I'll tell you this much. It's not Android. A little red light comes on to indicate that it's starting. Remember when I was complaining about all those FiiO players, like, I can't tell if it's starting? They've added a small red LED that comes on probably within 2 seconds of you pushing the button, telling you, wait, I'm turning on. My screen will be on in 6 or 7 seconds. By the way, this is already up, in case you weren't paying attention. So either FiiO is listening to me, or someone over there is like, hey, you know what? We can't really tell when the player's starting. Why don't we add a little red dot? And they did. They had a little red dot right there. The only purpose of it is just in the startup sequence. It comes on to say, hey, I'm going to start now. Give me like 6-7 seconds to initialize the screen. And then finally it does. And we're up. We're up now. It knows the time, I think. That's an incredibly long amount of time for a small on-the-go player. Which, by the way, let's do this one right. We'll do the physicals of this one first. USB-C on the bottom. Card reader on the right, power and headphone out on the top, 3 buttons on the left, glass back, again, fingerprint fucking magnets. But it won't matter because you're probably going to keep it in the clear case, which is wholly superior to the silicone that the AP80 comes with. It's got a curved screen, the curved glass in front. It's one of the best feeling players, like just in the hand, it's the right size. This is small but boxy, and it's thick, and this is just thinner. This is just 30% thinner, and about the same width, but then it's longer. The actual extra length helps. And if I put the screen back on, whichever hit the top button, you'll see that it actually it uses that screen. It's got a very similar looking menu, but you get FiiO Music, File Management, Gallery, Technical Support, Settings, KKBox, Title, NetEase, Music, and Move. And these are popular ones in China, I believe. No Spotify. You can actually... I've read a thing, because I had to research this a bit. You can put Spotify on this, but you have to jump through a couple of hoops. And I wasn't willing to do that for you guys. I love you guys, but I'll kick your ass. This is enough. Now, like I said, this is Android. There is your Android interface. There's your brightness adjustment, your date, your settings, line output, which I'm going to change to pre-output, your Bluetooth settings. You turn on Bluetooth. It's a full fucking Bluetooth menu. You go to more settings. It's Android. It's legit Android. It found my Ultrabook. It's finding all sorts of things in my apartment. I need to make it not do that. Hold on. Shut off Bluetooth. Okay, off Bluetooth. Here's my Wi-Fi. It's connected. It's $150 and it's connected to my Wi-Fi. Okay? It gets its own updates. I don't have to plug anything in. You could set the storage. Hold on. Storage or USB DAC, depending on when you plug this in. Another one that you could use is a USB DAC. Filter settings. Filter settings brings you to the audio menu, which is in the setup. And you get to select pre-out or line-out. You only, look, oh my God. Fucking what a waste of $100. You only get 3 digital filter settings. Where that had 10? Does that have 10 digital filter settings? The AP80 is really focused on letting you tweak the sound output, which is great because it sounds great. And this is more like, let's just get you usability. So you get that. You get wireless playback quality. You could set it to do LDAC sound quality first, LDAC connection first, LDAC standard, aptX HD, aptX SBC, which is, you don't want SBC. Adjust your balance, maximum volume, fixed volume, inline remote. If you want it to work with the inline remote. You want it to be you want it to be a USB DAC. You want it to actually run on AirPlay. That's basically the settings of this unit. I mean, it's got settings in here that are Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, audio, key lock, which shows a custom key lock, which shows a picture of the side. And for whatever reason, if you want to lock any of these individually, you can. There's only 3 though, and here's the thing. Where's the volume? Zeos. This has a knob for volume, and then these buttons. Where's the volume on this? Anything in general that I care about. Brightness, wallpaper. I didn't actually go and grab any wallpapers. It should just have the waifuest waifu wallpaper. Oh, Jesus, what's in here? Oh, Jesus. Richard Cheese. Yes! That's an amazing wallpaper. Do it. Nice. Set wallpaper. Boom. Home screen wallpaper. So now if I leave this, and the way that FiiO has, since there's no forward back button, you swipe up on the right to go back to the home page, or you swipe on the left to go back. So just have to know that much. Look, I've got a custom wallpaper now. I didn't have that before. I'm sold. File management, gallery. Gallery is just pictures. There's no pictures on here, except for the ones that are album art. So I can choose any of these album arts I want with the wallpaper. Let's swipe up on the left. Minimizes. I'm not going to load KKBox or Title. I don't have a Title account anymore. They stole enough of my money. So yeah, basically, so we're on Wi-Fi. We're not set to AirPlay. I don't want AirPlay. I want to leave. AirPlay's a button. Don't want it. I'm on my Wi-Fi. We got this. I'm loading FiiO music. Actually, I should do the same test. How do I close this? Okay, can this play? I'm still wearing the Brainwaves Alaras. They're so open that I can't even tell. Now you also got to choose from if you want the cable down to the bottom or the top. Really up to you. I don't know. I don't hate the fact that the headphone cable is out the top on this one. I usually like the bottom, like on this side, so that my finger doesn't... Oh, actually, my finger can grip. I don't know. You make your pick. Most of the time, you're just going to be blindly pressing these buttons to change tracks anyway. So, FiiO Music, right? Run the Jewels, Angel Duster. Volume is at 0. Okay. Before I get to the whole get to play without anything running, you only have 3 buttons. Play, pause, which is this one. Then you get up, which is volume, it's buttons, physical. You hold it down and it goes up. Or you hit that and then you scroll your fingers around. Oh. This also powers these headphones amazingly well. Back up a little bit, just so I could hear it. Zeos, how do you change tracks? Well, if the screen... Are you ready for one of the problems with the FiiO? If the screen is on like it is currently, you have to hit next track on the app. But the screen is off. Like a fucking Bluetooth player. You hold for 1 second and now it's next track. Next track. And then you press it over and over again to adjust volume, louder, louder, louder. Oh, I want to restart this track. Press it for a second. It's next track or last track. But turn the screen on. If you can see it either on the unlock screen, this is the unlock screen, which you could slide to unlock. Once the screen's on, that's only volume, and that's slightly annoying. There were times, I had this at CanJam. I had this secured to the back of the Monoprice portable THX DAC amp. And I used an OTG cable because this acted as a DAC. And I looped the little OTG cable here. Boom. And now I stopped using the amp DAC in this and started using the amp DAC in this. And it was glorious. But you could all race backwards through a field of dicks. What a poignant lyric. So I could change tracks from the lock screen. I could pause from the lock screen, which I could still pause and unpause from the button here. I just can't change track from the buttons because it's now permanently volume. Shut that off. Now it's track change. So you're going to end up doing a lot of pressing of this top button to turn the screen usually off. You want to unlock it, and then you get the screen, you push this, you get your option setting, equalizer. How many bands? Much prettier interface than that. Another 10-band EQ. You could choose, I'm not going to start fucking with it now, please, God. Shuffle, playlist, favorite. In here we get delete and track info. And that's just by pressing that. Boom. The FiiO player is a much more refined thing because it's an Android. Swipe back. Here's your main list. Playlists. We go back. We get all songs, artists, albums, playlists, genres, folder. Recently played, most played, recently added. You swipe. Oh, you hit settings. I'm sorry. And then you get the actual app settings. Gapless playback. Replay gain again. USB audio output mode. HWA Bluetooth. Hardware acceleration. Wi-Fi song transfer. DLNA. You get to pick the theme, light or dark. I have it set to dark. Lock screen album art. Yes. Auto update if you wanted to auto update. Resume is on. Scan for songs. Off timer. And we're back to music. Pause. All right, I'm going. Two things. There's a couple little annoyances, like having to, when your screen's on, you have to use buttons on the screen versus the side. That's mildly annoying. Mildly. You get used to that real fast. The fact that it's Android does not mean it dies. One of the reasons I'm going to choose this one as like my favorite portable player of all time. A, the ergonomics of it are great. I love having less buttons. I love being able to just play, pause, next track, press it, lower the volume, hold it, next track. Super fucking easy. When I brought this to CanJam, I wouldn't have dreamed of spending 8 hours with a Android player before this one, because I've done the M9, I've done they're getting better and better and better. This is the best Android player. The battery lasts. Here, ready for the story? Zeos, you always tell us a story. Tell me a story, Bella Laika. Packing up for CanJam. I'm in Philadelphia. I have to drive to New York. I had to spend the night at my cousin's. Then I had to wake up and go CanJam. I never shut the player off when I left this apartment. I packed it up. An hour later, probably, I put it in my car. 2 hours later, I'm in New York. Then I'm eating dinner. Then I'm going to sleep. Then I wake up. It's still on 31% battery. The whole fucking day it was running. And I only used 70% on an Android-based player. That's insane. Just that's insane. That's insane. Never would have imagined to be possible. They've stripped Android down to its bare essentials. And it just sat there going, I'm going to wait here until you need me. And I plugged it in before CanJam. I got it up to 55%. Then my brother had a USB thing. I got it to 100%. I unplugged it all day. It just sat in my pocket. This stayed on all day. This stayed on all day, running in my pocket. And if an hour went by and I didn't need to test a headphone, it didn't come out. If it did come out, okay, I'm testing, 8, 9 different headphones. It goes back in my pocket. Batteries are eternal. The problem is it doesn't have a sleep mode, like a long sleep mode. What does that mean? That means, little Johnny, that when you're done playing Run the Jewels and you shut it off and it says, do you want to shut down? You hit OK. You're shutting off an Android device, which means you're going to have to turn that Android device back on, which means this whole time we're waiting, plus the turn on time we're going to wait, is just death. So, if you're a person who's going to actively use this on a daily basis, you have a choice. Either you wake up in the morning, turn it on, brush your teeth, take a shit, get ready to school, go to school, listen, get home at night, turn it off, charge it, or you have to treat it like a cell phone. My cell phone never turns off. If it needs to charge, it gets charged. It stays on. Turn it off. Never turns off. It's always charging or on. It's on. It's always on. And this, I'm confident and I could just shut it off. It's turned off, actually. The music wasn't playing. Because if I turn it on, it only takes, 10, 12 seconds to turn on? This takes like a solid minute. And that, done. I'm ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. Fucking rock and roll. Let's do this. It wasn't wasting any power. It was just sitting there on. This is still Android. As much as I love this new revision and how they've gotten it to last forever, which I'm going to put it in its case, but I'm going to wipe it first, if you don't mind, because I'm probably not going to take it out of its case once I do this. I love the feel of it. I love how soapy it feels. Why are you so soupy? By the way, look at that. The perfect fit. The buttons all accessible perfectly. Red lights on. Red lights on. Means it's starting. It means it's starting. It means it's starting. And now it's welcome. So that's the problem. You have to make some choices right now. I was going to say, oh, this is a clear winner. This is the Bella Leica's, the FiiO. Doesn't have FM, which maybe doesn't matter to you. Does connect to Wi-Fi. Doesn't have Spotify by default. You got to dick with it. Takes this long to turn on, which is irrelevant if you leave it running all the time. If you bring it to your car, you plug it into your car, let it sit there. Or you go fast. They both have amazing sound quality for $150. That's the problem. If one of these was just the sound quality was bad, I wouldn't be spending this much time yapping about it, especially with daily videos to do. I got other reviews to do. I don't need to be sitting here talking for 40 fucking minutes about these. But I'm sitting here talking about 40 fucking minutes with these because they deserve it. They both deserve it. This thing has more sound tweaks than anybody knows what to do with it. And although the volume control is a little weak, I could say the same for this, because if you do hit it, you're probably going to end up doing the fingering on the... You're going to finger the screen. You're going to finger the screen, Bella Leica. Whereas this one, you might be able to just side twist.
Yeah, fill me up.
Why she got to bother me now? All right. That's the indicator, though. I should probably be done with this. It's probably been an hour. I don't know which one I would... I know... Again, I've tested every IM with this one. I've gone on drives and walks with this one, but this is the one I took to CanJam. Also, this one supports 1 terabyte micro SDs, and this supports up to 2 terabytes, which only 512s are out right now, so it doesn't really matter. But just saying, because it's Android, because it's more modern tech. This is more modern tech, and this is a lot of fucking tweak shit crammed into an old chassis. I'm going to take it out of this case. I hate this case. This case is useless. When I put this in the yard sale, I'm probably going to put the AP80 in a yard sale. I'm probably going to put an AP80 in the yard sale. The battery lasts long enough. It's not super longevity. It's down to 97% already, and it hasn't done much. It started at 100. I'm probably keeping this just because it's the correct... My friend loves small devices, and he says if this was a phone, he would pay $500 for it, and it's only $150. Like, hello, yes, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is perfectly ergonomic. Perfect. This one started at 53% or started twice. It's still at 53%. It is an infinite. The only thing that's going to beat this is going to be the newer Kawan that I'm looking at buying with the Patreon money. Speaking of the Patreon money, I have a Patreon. If you would like to buy these items from me, or at least this item from me when I'm done with it, for, let's say, $79.83, all you have to be is a $5 patron. You throw your bid in at the start of every month, from the 1st to the 10th, whenever month this is, the next month it'll be sold. And then you get it. So if you spend $5 and you saved $70, it's worth it. Also, if you want to ask me questions, the Patreon does that. The Patreon lets you see these videos early. I'm building a buffer. It should be at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks early. You get to see these videos. So if there's a run on FiiOs, you'll know about it. What else? That wallpaper. Not very sexy unless you're into that sort of thing, and I sort of am. So sexy-ass wallpaper in the description. Link to the Patreon in the middle of the screen in a second, and in the description. I'm not going to link anything else. These two things have enough... They're right in the butter zone of $150 is what you spend on a good portable audio player. And you either got to pick FM and tweakability and for some reason a pedometer, or do you want it to be able to go to Wi-Fi and have apps? Granted, they're not, like Spotify's the big one. Why don't you fucking make the deal to put Spotify on there? And then you got to babysit your phone, which, because it's like a phone, you got to babysit it. You got to turn it on and off and off and on. Take your pick, ladies and gentlemen. I can't make this choice for you, but you're going to pick one of these two. They're just too damn convenient. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Zeos. This is Z Reviews, and you'll see another one of these videos tomorrow. Oh, God.